The uniform was draped over my childhood bed when I arrived at my parents' house Friday morning. Black slacks, white button-down shirt, and a black vest with Ashworth Manor catering staff, embroidered in gold thread. What is this? I called downstairs. My sister Vanessa appeared in the doorway, already in her rehearsal outfit, a white sundress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Oh good, you found it. We had a last-minute catastrophe with the catering company. 2 servers called in sick and we desperately need someone to cover. Since you're not in the wedding party anyway. I'm your sister. I know and I love you, but Claire, be realistic. You don't really fit in the aesthetic. All my bridesmaids are wearing size 2 dresses and you're just, you know. She gestured vaguely at my body. Plus, you work in hospitality anyway. This is basically what you do, right? And honestly, it would save us about $1,000. Please? For me? It's my wedding. I looked at the uniform, then at Vanessa's expectant face. She'd always been the golden child. Beautiful, social, everything coming easily. I was the older sister who'd moved away at 18 and only came home for major holidays. The one the family didn't quite know what to do with. What do Mom and Dad think about this? They said it was fine. Actually, Dad thought it was a great idea. You'd have something to do instead of sitting alone at a table. She checked her phone. I have to run, final dress fitting in 20. The uniform should fit. See you tonight. She was gone before I could argue. I picked up the uniform, that familiar tightness in my chest. This wasn't the first time Vanessa had made me feel invisible, but asking me to work as staff at her wedding was a new low. My phone buzzed. A text from my private secretary, James. Ma'am, confirming your attendance at the Windsor event next month. Her Majesty is looking forward to seeing you. I smiled despite myself. If only my family knew. The rehearsal dinner was at La Bella Vista, the restaurant attached to Ashworth Manor, the venue Vanessa had insisted on for her wedding. It's where all the society weddings happen, she'd gushed 6 months ago. Completely exclusive. 3-year waiting list. But Mom pulled some strings. Mom hadn't pulled any strings. I'd made a single phone call to the owner, Lady Catherine Ashworth, who also happened to be my godmother. Catherine had bumped Vanessa to the top of the list as a favor to me, though my family didn't know that. They thought they'd gotten lucky. At dinner, I sat at the end of the table, already wearing my server uniform as Vanessa had requested. Everyone else celebrated while I watched. Vanessa's fiancé Brandon and his family dominated the conversation. Old money from Connecticut, the kind who summered in the Hamptons and measured worth in Ivy League degrees. Vanessa, darling, Brandon's mother Constance said, I'm still amazed you secured Ashworth Manor. Do you know Princess and held her daughter's reception there? It's nearly impossible to book. I know. Vanessa beamed. We're so fortunate. The venue director said they rarely accept new clients. I took a sip of water and said nothing. Tomorrow will be perfect, Constance continued. Though I do hope the staff maintains proper standards. I've heard they're quite particular about protocols. Oh, we actually had to supplement with our own servers, Vanessa said, gesturing at me. My sister Claire is helping out. She works in hospitality, so she knows what she's doing. Constance's eyes swept over me with barely concealed disdain. How practical. I suppose someone has to do that work. Brandon's sister Victoria laughed. Keeping it in the family. Very cost-effective. They all laughed. I smiled politely and refilled water glasses like I'd been doing all evening. My phone buzzed. Another text from James. Update. Security advance team arrives 0800 tomorrow. Royal protection officers need full venue access. Shall I coordinate with Ashworth Manor directly? I excused myself to the bathroom and called him. James, I need you to be extremely discreet tomorrow. My family doesn't know about any of it. Understood, ma'am. Though I should mention the protection detail will be quite visible. They'll need to sweep the entire venue, including service areas. It may be difficult to maintain your privacy. Do your best. And James? Under no circumstances do you address me by title in front of my family. Just Claire. As you wish, ma'am. I hung up and stared at my reflection. Lady Claire Ashworth Montgomery, daughter of the late Duke of Ashworth, heir to the Ashworth estate, and currently serving drinks at her own sister's wedding in a venue I technically owned through the family trust. The situation would be funny if it weren't so sad. When I returned, Vanessa was discussing the budget. "We're keeping it under 100,000, she said proudly. Though the venue fee was brutal. 50,000 just for the space. I nearly choked. Ashworth Manor had waived the venue fee entirely as a courtesy to me. My family had paid exactly $0. "Worth every penny," Constance said. "Prestige has a price." After dinner, Mom cornered me. "Claire, honey, thank you for being flexible about tomorrow. I know it's not ideal, but Vanessa's been so stressed about costs. Having you help with service really saves us money." "Mom, about the venue. Isn't it magnificent?" Catherine Ashworth herself called to confirm our booking. She mentioned a special consideration, though I'm not sure what that meant. Mom patted my arm. "You'll do great tomorrow. Just smile and pour drinks." Saturday morning, I arrived at Ashworth Manor through the service entrance at 7 a.m. The head of catering, Michelle, greeted me with confusion. "Miss Claire? What are you doing in staff uniform? Lady Catherine said you'd be." "Michelle, please. My family doesn't know. Can I work as a server today? No special treatment." He studied my face, then nodded slowly. "As you wish. But Lady Catherine is most displeased about this arrangement." "I'll handle Catherine." At 8 a.m. sharp, 3 black SUVs pulled up. Men in dark suits emerged, speaking into earpieces. "The Royal Protection Detail." Michelle's eyes widened. "The security team is early." "Who?" "They're here for a guest. Just let them do their sweep." The lead protection officer approached. "Lady Claire, we need to." I shook my head frantically. "Not today. Please. Pretend I'm regular staff." He looked confused but nodded. "As you wish, ma'am. Though Her Majesty will want to greet you properly." "Her Majesty can greet me in the kitchen, away from my family." The ceremony was at 2 p.m. I stood in the back with other servers, holding a champagne tray, watching my sister marry Brandon in the gardens where I'd played as a child. The same gardens where my father had taught me to identify every flower. Where I'd learned I'd inherited the estate after his death. Vanessa looked beautiful. Brandon looked proud. And I looked like staff. After the ceremony, guests moved to the terrace for cocktail hour. I circulated with champagne, invisible in my uniform. Vanessa's friends discussed careers in finance and marketing. Brandon's family compared vacation homes. "Excuse me, miss," one of Brandon's uncles said, snapping his fingers at me. "More champagne. Be quick." I smiled politely. "Right away, sir." At 4 p.m., the protection officers positioned themselves at every entrance. Guests started noticing. "Why so many security guards?" someone asked. "Maybe the venue always has this security? I mean, it is Ashworth Manor." At 4:15, a sleek Bentley pulled up. The terrace went silent. Queen Elizabeth II stepped out, accompanied by 2 ladies-in-waiting. At 97, she still commanded absolute attention. Vanessa's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the stone. Brandon had gone completely white. Constance looked ready to faint. The Queen surveyed the crowd, then her gaze landed on me, still holding a champagne tray in my server uniform. Her expression shifted to something that looked suspiciously like amusement. "Lady Claire," she said, her voice carrying across the silent terrace. "How unexpected to find you working service. I thought you were a guest at your sister's wedding." Every head turned toward me. I set down the tray and curtsied properly. "Your Majesty. What a lovely surprise." "Is it?" The Queen's tone was dry. "I received an invitation to celebrate at Ashworth Manor. Naturally, I assumed the Ashworth family would be hosting, not working as staff." She looked at Vanessa. "You must be the bride. Congratulations. And on securing this particular venue." "Thank you, Your Majesty," Vanessa whispered. "We're honored. We don't understand." "Don't you?" The Queen turned back to me. "Lady Claire, perhaps you should explain why I'm here." I took a deep breath. "Your Majesty, my family doesn't actually know that you're Lady Claire Ashworth Montgomery, heir to the Ashworth Duchy? That you own this property through the family trust? That you've been serving as a United Kingdom Special Envoy for Cultural Heritage for 6 years?" The Queen's eyebrows rose. "How extraordinary. What do they think you do?" "They think I work in hospitality management." "Well, you do own one of Britain's most prestigious event venues. I suppose that's technically hospitality management." The queen accepted champagne from a terrified server. Though I'm curious why the heir to a duchy is serving drinks in uniform at her own sister's wedding. My mother found her voice. Claire, what is she talking about? You're a duchess. Not quite. My father was the Duke of Ashworth. I inherited the title and estate. Lady Claire Ashworth Montgomery is my full name. But you said hospitality management. I do. I manage the Ashworth estate, which includes this venue, 3 hotels, a museum and 4,000 acres. I also serve as a cultural envoy for heritage preservation. Vanessa was crying. You own this place? This entire time? Through the family trust, yes. Lady Catherine is my godmother. She runs daily operations. When you wanted to marry here, I asked her to accommodate you. She waived the venue fee as a favor. You haven't paid anything for this space. The $50,000 was a fiction I asked Catherine to maintain so you'd believe you'd earned this on merit. I looked at my mother. You asked me to work as a server to save money. I've been subsidizing this entire wedding while wearing a staff uniform because you thought I wasn't good enough for photos. Brandon's mother had found a chair. Brandon looked like he was doing mental calculations, probably realizing he'd married into a titled family without knowing it. The queen sipped champagne. Lady Claire, this is excellent. From your cellars. Yes, your majesty. The 1998 vintage. Lovely. Now shall we discuss the cultural heritage project? I believe the Prime Minister is eager for your recommendation. Of course, your majesty. Though perhaps we should let the bride and groom have their moment. Quite right. The queen turned to Vanessa. My dear, you've married into interesting circumstances. The Ashworth Montgomery family is one of Britain's oldest. Your sister has done remarkable work preserving that heritage. I suggest you get to know her properly. The queen moved into the manor, protection detail following. She'd stay for exactly 1 hour, protocol, then depart. I was left on the terrace, still in my uniform, facing my family's shock. Michelle appeared. Lady Claire, Lady Catherine requests your presence. She's insistent about getting you out of that uniform. Tell her I'll be there shortly. I turned to Vanessa. I'm sorry for disrupting your wedding. I only asked Her Majesty for a brief appearance for a preservation project. I didn't expect her to announce everything. You're a duchess, Vanessa said numbly. A lady. I could inherit the duchy under certain conditions, but it's complicated. The point is, I have responsibilities in Britain. I've been managing them quietly. You thought I was unsuccessful because I dress casually and don't discuss work. But I couldn't. Most of it's diplomatic, confidential. Dad stepped forward. We should have asked more questions. Should have paid attention. We let wedding planning consume everything and didn't notice our daughter has been living a completely separate life. I made it easy not to notice, I admitted. Kept the estate business private. Easier than explaining. You let us make you work as a server, Mom said, tears streaming. At a venue you own. Vanessa stared at the manor. All those times you said you were dealing with property issues. I was in Britain. Managing the estate preservation board's diplomatic work. The Ashworth properties require constant attention. And you still came home. Let me put you in a server uniform. Paid for this venue and let me think I'd earned it. You're my sister. I wanted you to have your dream wedding. Brandon finally spoke. So when you say hospitality management, I manage one of Britain's premier historic estates, including hospitality ventures. I advise the government on cultural policy, and occasionally serve champagne at family weddings while keeping quiet about owning the property. Catherine emerged, annoyed. Claire, the Queen is asking for you. Also, I'm burning that uniform. This is absurd. I'll be right there. I turned back. Enjoy your reception. The food is excellent. The champagne is from our private cellars. The fireworks at sunset are courtesy of the estate. Consider it my wedding gift. Claire, wait. Vanessa caught my arm. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? Or thought I was making up stories to seem important? I smiled sadly. You'd decided I was unsuccessful. Telling you I was a British lady managing a historic estate would have sounded like fantasy. Easier to let you think what you wanted. That's not fair to you. No. But it was easier than fighting to be seen. I removed her hand gently. I need to speak with the Queen. Enjoy your wedding, Vanessa. You look beautiful. I hope you'll be very happy. I walked into the manor shedding the vest. Catherine met me with my actual dress, designer appropriate for royal audiences. That was dramatic, she said. That was a disaster. That was perfect. Your family needed the truth. They've taken advantage of your generosity for years. About time they learned better. The Queen was in the drawing room, examining a portrait of my father in formal robes. Your Majesty, I said, curtsying in proper dress now. Much better. Though I must say your family situation is extraordinary. I've kept my British life separate. Seemed simpler. Simpler perhaps, but not kind to you. She settled into a chair. Now about the Heritage Project. The Prime Minister wants recommendations by Tuesday. We spent 30 minutes discussing preservation funding and diplomatic complications. My real work. The work my family had never known about. When the Queen departed at 5:30, protocol observed, I returned to the reception. The party was subdued, guests whispering about the royal visit and the revealed identity. Vanessa found me. Claire, I've been horrible. You've been you. I didn't correct your assumptions. You let me put you in a server uniform. I let a lot of things happen because it was easier. But Vanessa, I'm not who you thought. I have responsibilities in Britain, work that matters, a life you've never asked about. That needs to change. I want to know everything. Your estate, your work, all of it. Then ask. Actually ask and listen. Don't assume. He hugged me, crying. I'm so sorry. You deserved better. Yes, I agreed. I did. The wedding continued. The fireworks were spectacular. Brandon's family approached cautiously, suddenly interested in the titled in-law they hadn't known existed. I was polite but distant. Some bridges had burned today. At midnight, after Vanessa and Brandon departed, Mom found me on the terrace. We need to talk. Really talk. About Britain, your father's family, everything we should have discussed years ago. Hey. But Mom, it'll take time. You've missed a lot. I know. I'm sorry. We made assumptions, took you for granted, didn't see you. That changes now. I nodded, looking over the estate gardens illuminated by moonlight. My father's legacy. My inheritance. The life I'd been managing alone while my family thought I was unsuccessful. Yes, I said quietly. It does. Some families only see you after strangers validate you. Some families only notice your worth when royalty points it out. And some sisters make you work as wedding staff at venues you actually own. But at least now, in the uniform I'd never wear again, the truth was visible. Lady Claire Ashworth Montgomery, Duchess-in-Waiting, Cultural Envoy, Estate Manager. Never again the unsuccessful sister. Never again invisible.